He's been to jail a couple times while we were together, but I think for me, if I'm not, he's only been to jail once for me in the 3 years that we were together, but he was in and out for other things. But I want to say like that second year when we were more consistent, that's when the abuse started, but it didn't start out that way.
Hey bro, it just is what it is. Like, it's tough. I get it. It's hard. It's rough for you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Now, I know we're not all perfect and no one's ever going to be all perfect. That's not what I'm talking about. And I don't think that's even what anyone's looking for or requesting. I think we need to get back to a point where we are seeking for Christ. Amora Lexx was in a recent interview and she really shared some intimate, deep, emotional parts of her life. And I think this is a topic that we're going to handle with some grace, because I know there's plenty of people, plenty of other women, plenty of other single mothers out there that probably have similar stories, if not some close to it. Now, let's get into this clip. She's really going to open up about, the multiple baby daddies, the struggle with the children, the struggle with her, kind of where she is in life right now. And this is something I think, as we talk about it throughout, if you happen to be struggling in a similar situation like this, or even furthermore to prevent you from going down a path like this, you're going to enjoy some of the things we talk about and point out here. But let's get into this clip.
Things that I've gone through, like me, I'm trying to heal from being raped, but I'm healing in the wrong way. I turn to strangers, then turn to drugs, then turn to somebody who I barely know. So like, I take my accountability, and I feel like I failed my kids before I conceived them because I chose who their dads was, if that makes sense. Like, regardless of like what I've gone through, I'm a bomb-ass mom. But I would say I definitely failed my kids before they were conceived because of who their dads was.
And that's a strong thing to think about, because a big thing about this, whether it's people, whether they're talking about the abortions, no matter what these things are, there's a huge thing that I do appreciate that Amora's putting out here. And she's taken a lot of accountability, which is why I said I want to take this conversation with grace. I'm not bashing the single mother. I'm not bashing the people that even have some of the similar mistakes and hardships that she's going to unveil here in just a moment. But she's definitely taken accountability, and I appreciate that. And that is what I'm going to go off of. Because I think on the other end here, there are a lot of people who have this similar story, similar circumstances, hardships, what have you, that don't take accountability, that they don't see anywhere in the equation where they could have been an integral part to this in a negative way. And oftentimes we don't think about it when we, in this new day and age, choose to get intimate with one another, as consistent as people are doing it. The easy access they have to it these days, but we're not thinking enough that, bro, when you are getting into these situations, or sis, when you're getting into these situations with a person and you're laying down with them, a wise man once told me years ago, and it stuck with me till then, the person you lay down with can very well be the mother and or father of your children. That's something that'll have you thinking for a while. And it'll help prevent you from making the decisions that she's made and so many other women are making, and men for that matter too. But let's hear what else she has to say. Let's keep this going.
Everything.
Did he also abuse you as well?
He didn't start off that way. It was more so like, so we were together on and off for 3 years. And then by, I want to say like that second year when we were more inconsistent, that's when the abuse started. When he went to jail, I'm trying to think, because he's been to jail a couple times while we were together. But I think for me, if I'm not, he's only been to jail once for me in the 3 years that we were together. But he was in and out for other things. But I want to say like that second year when we were more consistent, that's when the abuse started. But it didn't start out that way. Not at all.
And I'm not saying that you can judge these things before they happen, but more times than not, you can see a gentleman's character, ladies, before you even get this far into the relationship, before you add this much intimacy and before you start to connect your lives and intertwine together, there's usually signs before, but oftentimes because of our own lust, our own desires to go off and get what we want and have it how we want it, sometimes we were deceived. And you can end up being led astray and manipulated by someone who has evil intents. This is why when it comes to having children, and I know the desire that people have and to have the family, the white picket fence, the perfect life, it's not something that you just go obtain like you're going to a drive-thru and picking up a cheeseburger. It's something that requires a lot more well thought out decisions. It's something that you need to actually be having these conversations before we can even get to the bedroom. At the first date, I know sometimes the conversations can be a bit superficial, but you got to be willing to go deep, and you have to be willing to put yourself out there on the table. Put your accountability out there. Let it be known what you are, the mistakes you have, the things you've done. When I was getting married to my wife, I married her very quickly. I met her January 3rd, 2019, and I married her February 1st, 2019. I met and married her all within 27 days, give or take. In that time frame, people were like, oh, you never know, this is not certain, you don't know who he is. And it's because people are so accustomed to these superficial traditions. So in their head, they're looking at it as they don't know anything about each other besides their favorite colors and what kind of ice cream they chose on the first date. But that's not true. Because for me, I said, I need to be so transparent because I am on a mission. I am serious about this. And in order for this person that I am vetting, in order for this person that I am pursuing, my wife, in order for her to make an educated decision, she needs to know everything about me, good and bad. Now, I know not everybody's going to do that, although I believe that people need to be doing that. I believe that the level of transparency that I divulged in the beginning of my relationship before I married my wife is something that a lot of people should do. Don't hold anything back. I mean, the ugly, the bad, everything, like the darkest things in the closet, you know them. There will never be a time in your life going forward. We're almost about to celebrate 6 years of marriage. Going forward, and even in these 6 years and even forward from that, there's never anything that's been brought to her attention. I mean, the lightest of the lightest and the darkest of the darkest. There's never been anything brought to her attention that I did not already tell her. Day one. So if you're not being met, I say all this to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not being met with that level of transparency, accountability, honesty, I think it's not worth putting yourself in a position where you'll create a family with this person. See, because I did that before. I had a child out of wedlock when I was in college, and I wasn't mature, and I wasn't doing the things that I did with my wife. I wasn't being transparent. I was being this way here that this young lady is experiencing, maybe knucklehead men, immature men. I was being that way. And it was nothing but God that changed that, man. Truly nothing. I didn't do anything. I didn't take classes on how to be this and how. It was nothing but honestly submitting to God and just truly looking for him to say, hey, where should I go in all this? Let's keep this going.
Where are your sons at this point in time?
Back in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
I can't get into.
Yeah. That's fine.
Okay. Because I don't want nobody to know where my kids are. But I do know where my kids are.
Hey guys, real quick, if you click the link in the description, it'll take you to Amazon where you can get your own copy of my book, Matters of Life, True Stories of Pain, Forgiveness, and Resilience. This book is filled with true stories from real people's lives, giving you the opportunity to connect, relate, learn, and overcome whatever you may be dealing with in life. So click the link and let me know what you think.
In regards to your third pregnancy, I'm always curious, whenever you go to someone that you know for a few months and you tell them, hey, I'm pregnant, what is the reception that he gave you? The second baby?
Wait, one more was the last part of
The
that?
second baby daddy. When you tell him, hey, I'm pregnant, he already know you have 2 kids. Like, how does he receive that information?
The second baby daddy? No, he didn't have any kids.
No, I mean, when you told him that you're pregnant, like,
How did he
hey,
feel about it?
yeah, I'm pregnant. Was it like happy, sad, monotone, like
I don't remember.
Typically, that's a very emotional moment for a couple. I remember when my wife told me she was pregnant with our daughter. It was an emotional moment. We held each other, hugged. It was a good moment. For her not to remember that, in my opinion, I could be wrong because I'm not a woman, but in my opinion, for her not to remember such a thing like that, it just makes me think of the trauma that she might have been dealing with at that time, to where something traditionally that's a big, intimate moment for a couple, something they would typically remember, she can't remember. Keep her in her prayers, man.
okay.
We're going to have to come back to that one.
Yeah.
It'll probably hit me.
Did you think about not keeping the child? Or did you like, oh, I got pregnant?
I thought about not keeping all of them.
Okay. Did you ever go to any abortion clinic at any time?
I didn't have that much courage. And I truly didn't believe in abortion either.
I gotta say real quick, I appreciate that she didn't do the abortions. I appreciate that she didn't have them. I appreciate that that wasn't something that she had the courage to do. No slide to anyone who's had them. I'm not saying that I condone it, but I'm just saying I'm not judging you for if you've had one in the past. But one thing I want us to note here, one thing I want to point out, men and women, this isn't just for women, this is for men too. If we don't want children, and if we don't want to have children, and you do not believe in having an abortion, then you also have to do on the other end the things that would prevent you from even being in a position to then engage in the activity to produce what you're not wanting. Rewind that if you missed it, and you'll catch it. We can't have one without the other. Sometimes on one end, we have a lot of focus and a lot of morals on what we don't believe in doing consequentially, but then preventatively, we're not thinking of the things that we can be doing to even put us in a position to where we're not even entertaining, twiddling, muzzling around with anything, with the things that we know could possibly, even if there's a little bit of an inkling, it just could possibly put us in a place that we don't want to be. We got to start thinking proactively, because what happens is this reactive thinking and these reactive behaviors that we're doing, it's putting too many women and too many families and too many children and men in these positions. And it's unfortunate, in my opinion. Let's keep this going.
While you were pregnant, were you still on drugs?
No. So, like, with my third son, I would say I did start smoking weed. That was the first pregnancy I had where I would use anything. And that was because actually my doctor recommended it. She didn't say, well, I don't think you really need to, but it was so bad I couldn't keep like nausea medicine down. So she just like, you know what, try weed at this point because it's not working. So like I did try weed, but as far as like coke and no, I don't, but.
It's shocking a doctor would say
Normally
that.
when you tell, even to go back to the first baby daddy, normally when you say, hey, I'm pregnant, some of them will say, hey, let's think about going to the clinic. I mean, did any of the fathers of any of your children say, hey, we might need to go to the clinic?
The first one, absolutely not. I don't remember how that whole thing went. I know my mom for sure was like, we gonna go. With actually the first one, he didn't really express if he was happy or not. I don't think he gave a fuck because I don't recall asking him either. But I do remember him saying, oh, you'll be okay. I do remember that. Now that I think about it. The second one, yeah, I don't know. I have to keep thinking on that one. I really don't know. The third one, though, when I told him, that nigga told me he had to tell his other baby mamas.
Bro, at some point in time, like the first one, the second one, now the third one, at some point in time, man, we gotta we got to slow down, because what happens is, I know these things are emotional. This could be very emotional for a woman. This situation, you got these kids, you're being left, and there's no situation, no help, and the family dynamic and structure is kind of broken. It could be emotional. I totally get that, but you got to slow down. Because what happens is, in our emotions, sometimes we end up repeating the same mistakes over and over, thinking that we are healing ourselves, but we are doing the complete opposite, and we're doing it very fast. So I would encourage, man, we got to slow down. When life gets heavy, Bible says, go off, go into the quiet, go mind your own business and shut everything out. Don't keep doing something looking for the next thing to give you a high, looking for the next thing to give you happiness and joy. Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
But he didn't say whether he was mad or happy. It was weird, like, because the day I found out I was pregnant was the day I was leaving him the fuck alone. Like, I dropped that nigga off at his auntie's house because I love my daughters so fucking much. I took a plan B and I was on birth control. That's how much they wasn't supposed to be here.
yeah. They say that when you take a plan B and be on birth control, that kind of cancels out.
Yeah, that's how I found out.
There's that reactive behavior that I was talking about. And yeah, I know they say, she's saying that that's how much they weren't supposed to be here. Actually, that's how much they were supposed to be here. Because there was nothing that you could do to keep it from happening. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we got to start to slow down a little bit. Sometimes we moving too fast, making decisions that we have no business making. And I say this from experience. I definitely say this from experience of living a life in my early young adulthood of just making decisions I had no business making, but praise be unto God for the people that he placed into my life that were able to guide me and help put me on a different path so that I didn't keep going down that path, making those same mistakes like I talked about earlier. Thinking that I'm healing myself, thinking that I'm making myself feel better, but I'm just digging myself into a deeper hole. Before I know it, I could have woke up one day, looked around and been like, what has happened to my life? But praise be unto God, man. And we're praying for Amora, praying for all the mothers out there that are in these situations, fathers too. Because don't be naive, there are men that are in these situations and it takes two to tango. A lot of these broken families and this dysfunctionality that's going on, but I'm praying. Definitely praying, and I hope you're doing the same. But that's all I got for you guys on this one. Appreciate you sticking all the way to the end. To the next one, guys. I'm out.